Hi guys, so for the past couple of years I've been buying Gamesworkshop miniatures as well as 3D printing miniatures off, and I have to admit they are now finally sort of neck and neck. Yeah, no differences at all in obviously the definition in the kind of miniatures you can download and just print off, but even more so now the quality of the actual print, as in the resin used. Yeah, the miniatures now are feeling exactly like the miniatures you would, well, you'd go out and buy yourself. But obviously for a fraction of the cost you would normally pay, and well, you can print off many things, and yeah, it's like being a kid in a toy shop. You can literally download something, print it off, bish bash bosh, job done. So those lovely people over at UniFormation recently sent me their GK2. So this video is sponsored by them, but as usual guys, yeah, I sort of give my own comments, feelings and thoughts about any sort of machine that I use. And yeah, lovely little thing straight out of the box, doesn't really take any setting up whatsoever. This thing also comes pre-leveled, which is just awesome. And as you can see, a lovely large build plate, which is always handy for printing off, well, loads of miniatures in one go. So this printer certainly has a few cool features about it, and the one I really like is obviously this, the connection between the large plate and the machine is just a simple little clip down, no more screws, which is awesome. It's also got this air purifier that basically just slots in the back, good old magnets, and you know I love magnets. So this printer by UniFormation certainly has gone through a lot of changes in 3D printers over the last few years. And yeah, there's a link down below guys, go and check it out. They are doing some sort of offers and discounts at the moment, and obviously there's a lot more sort of specifications and sort of bits and pieces there that you may or may not need to know. But yeah, say this printer got it straight out of the box. Obviously it says it comes pre-leveled. And yeah, I've seen a lot of YouTubers get this out of the box and then level it themselves just to obviously make sure it is what it says it is. But yeah, that's not me. I got it literally out of the box, and yeah, plugged and play, as they say. And well, you'll soon see the results I got from just doing that. So the other thing I need to mention is a lot of things have changed in the resin as well. Yeah, obviously if you've been using 3D printers, you'll know quite often you get some resin. Miniature comes out and you need to be careful of, well, things like swords, staffs, anything small and thin and, well, basically breakable, as yeah, hard resins, you drop them, things break. Well, things are changing on that front as well, as I'm about to try out a new resin for miniatures, and this one's called Wargammer and it's by Warhammer, and yes, that's 3D printed. Again, I'll leave links down below guys to where you can sort of get more details on this. So with this resin, it aims to make your miniatures feel, well, more like the miniatures you would buy or the Games Workshop type of miniatures. So definitely less fragile and more, well, more robust and possibly a little bit bendy. But here we go. So yeah, pouring the thing in, and I say this printer, I literally got it out of the box, plugged a few bits in, and then yeah, then got ready to sort of print off a miniature. And as we all know, I love orks, especially the ones by MrModulork over at My Mini Factory. Again, link down below guys, go and check out what he does. And this is his newest sort of, well, creation. And I think it just looks awesome, nice and large. And obviously I wanted to test out the UniFormation's, well, the large sort of print bed on it. So yeah, let's pack everything in, which is great, because obviously all these bits are required for this one sort of build. And yeah, so this is a big build plate. So normal build plates, you're looking at least 2, maybe 3 of them. Whereas this, I got it all on one. And yeah, stuck the thing on a little USB. And say, I didn't do any leveling. This literally is straight out of the box, pushing a few buttons, and well, away she goes. And it also tells you how much resin you need to put in there, which is pretty awesome. Obviously, I just filled the thing right to the very top. Well, the top of the maximum level. And yeah, I love the tray in this as well. It's a lovely large size tray, and it just slides in and out. Again, no more sort of silly clips or anything. And the other good thing with this is obviously you can push a button and you can get details as it's printing. So obviously how far it's gone, how long it's got, the temperature of the actual thing. So that's the other good thing about this thing guys. This one does heat up. So the bed on this heats up. So if you are in a cold area, or maybe you have your 3D printer in the sort of shed, yeah, this is another one that heats up, so it can be used, well, pretty much anywhere. Maybe not the North Pole though. So yeah, as you can see, this thing went really well. Yeah, 100% done, print completed. And I say this, I didn't do anything to this. This is just printed straight out of the box, and lo and behold, everything is just perfect, which is always a nice feeling when you get something, especially when you've loaded it up full of, well, parts, and yet everything has come out and printed just perfectly, which is always lovely to see. And the other good thing with this is, yeah, I do sometimes have problems getting things or the miniatures models off the plates. This slid off really easy, so I don't know if the plate's made of something different, but yeah, I love that. So all miniatures, obviously they have to be cleaned to get obviously any bits of resin off. So UniFormation does come with a nice sort of cleaning vat. Unfortunately I didn't have any spare IPA to use, so I couldn't use their one, but I did use my one just to sort of clean them all up, and then they're ready to well, take off the supports. And as always, I was kind of like put them in some warm water. This just helps the supports peel off. But as you'll see here, yeah, they kind of just fell off. And this is a good sign of a model maker that knows how to do supports. Yeah, they just peel off a treat, which is, well, absolutely lovely. But yeah, the supports, so the resin, as you can see, yeah, this is bendy. Normal resin, even when it's sort of warmed up, they still sometimes crack when you take them off. So yeah, this resin, instantly I can still tell it's going to be a good one, because, well, the flex that's in that resin is just awesome. And then the last thing to do before I can sort of paint these bad boys or even glue them together, and that's put them in this sort of curing system. Obviously, if you don't have these kind of things, you can just leave these things out in daylight. Obviously in the UK we don't always get a lot of lights, so that could take a long time. So yeah, so having these sort of the wash and the cure station, you don't need them. They just certainly make things a whole lot easier and quicker. And say, depending on where you live in the world, sometimes, yeah, you might not have the sun to be able to do this last stage. Anyway, so that's all the bits sort of done and ready to glue. Obviously, this is sort of resin and not your normal sort of plastic. So to glue in these, I use good old, well, super glue. And I use a real cheap one I get off Amazon. Yeah, just because it's cheap, and, well, some might call me cheap, and I like to call myself frugal. So yeah, I do like value for money. And then yeah, it's simply a case of gluing the bits together. I say this is probably one of the biggest sort of miniatures that I've well, built and painted. But you say it's purely because obviously I love orks, and you've got this lovely ork riding a, well, it's some sort of tyranid, I guess, equivalent, this sort of thing. But yeah, it looks gorgeous. And obviously everything goes together nice and well, because say MrModulork, I do love his stuff. And all his bits and pieces, especially all his orks and stuff, yeah, you can print bits off, but then you can mix and match and make your own sort of looking what's it. So good old matte black. And I'm still using the Rail cans by the Colour Forge. Well, as you can see, they just give a lovely matte black. I know a lot of other paints say they're matte black, but sometimes they do still have a sheen or a shine to them. Whereas yeah, the Colour Forge, again, link down below guys, it's just perfect. I've been using their cans now for a good couple of months and just love it. As well as obviously doing the black, they do have a whole variety of other colours, which is great. So yeah, no surprises. As you can see how I'm painting this dude, yeah, matte black primer, and then good old dry brushing with some white. And then he looks like this, which I love the look of this. You can always just sort of have a black and white sort of army, or grayscale army. But yeah, we all know I like to use speed paints. So I've got a variety of speed paints. There's a few purples I could have chose from. This is one I've gone for. Some of these colours I haven't used before. You'll see coming up soon there's a brown that I use. Definitely a brown that I've never used before. Good results, but it did go on a little bit sort of weird looking. But yeah, the purple, I have used this before, and this does go on really nice. And I say, you certainly can see the differentiation there between the light and dark areas. So yes, this is the brown. Possibly I've not shaken it enough. I did give it a good old shake. It's one I've not used before. So it did go on very wet and watery, but it does dry really well, and I did do a couple of coats on it. So you'll see it in a second, and yeah, it is a good looking brown once it's dried. So the skin colour, this is one sort of paint I think Army Painter needs to work on. As in, I've used a skin sort of tone paint here on, well, on normal sort of people miniatures, and yeah, it is a very sort of dark looking thing. And like all speed paints, if you do like more coats, it just gets darker. So yeah, I would like to see a nice paler sort of well, paler sort of paint from Army Painter at some stage. But green, well, this is obviously the reason why I love Orks. I love the green, and yeah, I've got a lot of great Army Painter speed paint greens that I can choose from. I've got 2 or 3 that I normally go to when I'm doing Orks, but yeah, I must admit all their greens are just lovely, and well, I love Orks. As always, it didn't take long to paint this dude using the slapchop method, so again, let's see him in all his glory. So I think we can safely say the combination of the UniFormation GK2 and the Wargammer Resin certainly give awesome results, and I say this does have a feel like, well, like any other sort of miniature that I bought from Gamesworkshop, which I think is just absolutely amazing. And once you've got past the initial outlay of buying the 3D printer, yeah, but making and printing your own miniatures afterwards is just going to save you, well, so much money in the long run. So yeah, big thank you to Wargammer and say that lovely faux hammer, and yes, that's 3D printed, for sending me the bottle of this just to sort of try out. Yeah, I would certainly recommend it and definitely use it again. I also wanted to say a big shout out and thank you to all my lovely patrons, as well as Chaos Cards and the Colour Forge for helping support the channel every month. There is another video on the screen, guys. It'd be great if you could give that a click and see more of what I do. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, leave comments down below, all that good stuff. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Bye for now.